In 1977, filmgoers across the world were enchanted by Star Wars, a space opera set in a galaxy far, far away. We follow Luke Skywalker, as well as Ben Kenobi, Han Solo, and the lovable droids R2-D2 and C-3PO as they set forth to rescue the Princess Leia from the Death Star. Star Wars is obviously a classic, and the original trilogy is rightfully treasured by fans worldwide. The world building, characters, lightsabers, planets, languages are all impressive and memorable. Yet, Star Wars, as well as other blockbuster series such as Lord of the Rings, Dune, Harry Potter, and The Hunger Games, owe a significant debt to mythology. You may have familiarity with Irish, Chinese, or Greek mythology, yet comparative mythology is when different myths from a variety of cultures are contrasted together to uncover key topics in literary analysis, especially concerning psychology, religion, the role of Christianity, and the afterlife. Like my previous videos on comparative literature, religion, and history, I will outline the potential of comparative mythology and how it can better help our understanding of ourselves and one another. I'm Madeleine Rose Jones, and I study history, literature, and culture. Welcome to Snowy Fictions. First, a solid definition. Comparative mythology is the study of myths from different cultures in order to identify common themes, motifs, structures, and patterns. It seeks to understand the similarities and differences in mythological traditions across time and space, often looking for universal archetypes and concepts that transcend individual cultures. You'll find scholars here who work in comparative mythology in various departments, especially literary studies, linguistics, psychology, and theology. For like comparative religion and literature, the study of various myths leans well into various primary sources. We notice an emphasis on written sources, but a scholar studying the ancient religions of Mesopotamia and the Nordic countries will consider runestones, funerary practices, and archaeological evidence. That's what I love about comparative mythology. It's multifaceted, complex, never-ending, and full of potential. Here, we notice the lines between religion, philosophy, literature, art, and science blur and cause us to question whether they are so divided in the first place. For within studies of religion, it is possible to uncover motifs about resurrection, the afterlife, and the hero's journey. There are limitations in understanding myth through religion, however, and religion through myth. So much of our understanding about Slavic and Germanic pagan cultures comes from Christian writers and storytellers, which, to be frank, isn't the massive limitation as some have made it out to be. But it does create an issue for scholars as to whether the people from the past actively followed or believed the religion as portrayed in books. Comparative mythology is often filtered through comparative cultural studies and leans nicely into anthropology, namely ethnography. How myths have survived over centuries is of keen interest, as are themes concerning globalism, translation, and reception studies. Mythology is certainly a cultural affair, and of course, cultures are specific and not necessarily universal. That's where psychology often plays a complementary role, with thinkers such as Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell considering archetypes. In a way, these men universalize mythology and religion by portraying it as something fundamental to who we all are. Comparative mythology takes notes of archetypes too, although it is certainly possible for a scholar to have criticisms of them, and not necessarily argue that they are so universal. Finding the balance between what is shared and what is specific isn't always easy, but from my point of view, many scholars have certainly found the right direction in this regards. In modern-day storytelling, an author or a filmmaker can certainly borrow from really any mythology and, in a way, use comparative myth to create a unique story that can connect with a variety of audiences. I started this video off with a classic example, Star Wars, and it's true. George Lucas took heavy inspiration from the ancient Near East, Celtic and Germanic traditions, the Roman Empire, Greek tragedy, and South Asian cultures. The end result is a unique and heavily beloved franchise. It isn't just space operas and fantastical worlds, however. Comparative mythology also has a role in contemporary retellings, where an author will take a historical myth and write a novel fitting current publishing standards. Madeleine Miller is a great example of this, with the Song of Achilles and Circe enchanting readers worldwide. Miller drew on ancient Greece, yet her novels are composed in a different language, in a different time, a different format, and a different region. She writes in English, in the modern day, in an Anglosphere context. I would be utterly remiss to not mention film and television. Shows such as Supernatural and Buffy the Vampire Slayer borrowed heavily from mythology and folklore, especially concerning the ancient Near East and Germanic literatures from the 19th century. This is just an important aspect of mythology. It's constantly being retold, reshaped, and refined. A literary scholar will consider the many ways a myth is told throughout time and within different contexts, languages, and histories. Whereas studying one mythology can tell us plenty about one culture and historical epoch, comparative mythology can unlock important truths about human nature and our relationship to the divine. The philosophical and theological potential of this is quite remarkable. But back to you. Do you have a favourite myth? What about a favourite retelling or story collection? Comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts and start a discussion. Subscribe for frequent videos on history, literature, and culture. I also have a mailing list, a blog, and creative writing classes, all linked below. Thank you for watching, and I'll definitely see you soon. Goodbye, and Merry Christmas!